going to look like? Is he going to be able to practice? Nobody knows. No one's gotten any clarification as to whether or not he's actually practicing, and that's a pretty important detail considering Shane Beamer revealed to us on Tuesday that if you don't practice Tuesday or Wednesday, you're not going to be playing in the game. It's a team policy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, today's Thursday.
Correct.
Tuesday and Wednesday have come and gone. No one knows if Lenora Sellers has practiced. So when the initial injury report came out at 8:10 last night, Michael Smith and Judge Collier were considered doubtful. Mazio Bennett Jr. and Lenora Sellers were considered questionable. Now, Missouri has 3 players out: Blake Craig, Sam Horn, Logan Reichert. Reichert being an offensive lineman, Sam Horn the backup quarterback, and Blake Craig the starting kicker. So Missouri is going to be down to kicker number 2 going into this game on Saturday. But Lenora Sellers listed as questionable. And I have a feeling that when it's released again tonight and tomorrow, he's going to be listed as questionable. On the day of the game, he was listed as questionable.
Because do you think there's any sandbagging going on here?
I think so. Well, because what happened last year in this game, Brady Cook was doubtful the entire week.
Mm-hmm.
And I was preparing for, in the days leading up into that game for all of our shows, I was preparing for Brady Cook to not play. I was preparing to see Drew Pine play on Saturday, which is why I felt really confident that South Carolina was going to win that game by multiple scores. Well, Brady Cook played and almost threw a game-winning touchdown pass.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason it wasn't a game-winning touchdown pass was because of what Carolina did the following drive with 10 seconds left.
Launch him.
I think Eli Drinkwitz remembers launch him pretty well. But I also think Shane Beamer remembers Brady Cook being considered doubtful all week. And guess who starts? Guess whose ankle is good to go once game day appears? So I think there could be some gamesmanship. I personally still believe we'll see Luke Doty. That is an Elijah Campbell take. Reporting nothing. And I would love to have been able to give you some type of inside information. I got nothing. It is hard. It is really hard. They are keeping it very close to the vest right now.
Well, you say they're keeping it very close to the vest. We could say that, but again, I love to hear the coaches say that. Jen, can we get clip number 2, please, really quickly here, Mike Shula, to hear how close they are keeping it to the vest?
The quarterbacks are doing well. They're practicing well, practicing hard, and getting ready for a really, really good defense.
Okay, the quarterbacks.
Practicing well, practicing hard.
Well, okay, the quarterbacks. Well, who plays quarterback? We know Luke Doty plays quarterback. We know Aaron Nolan plays quarterback. We know Cutter Woods plays quarterback. Not Jimmy Horn. What's my guy Jimmy's name?
Jimmy Francis.
How could I forget Jimmy? I forget Jimmy?
Jimmy Francis is practicing hard.
The reporters doing their due diligence asked the follow-up question. Jen, can we get clip number 6 here?
I think Coach Beamer probably has talked about all that. I think he's got all those answers.
I don't think he does.
That was in reference to somebody asking him whether Sellers was practicing. He said, I don't get, that's above my pay grade.
Right, yeah, okay. I don't get paid enough to tell you that.
Jay, can I hear that one more time? Because I thought that was the best part of the press conference yesterday.
I think Coach Beamer probably has talked about all that. I think he's got all those answers.
Yeah, talk to the, hey.
Don't ask me that. I really would love for him to have been like, I don't know, as if he's just not at practice. As Lenora Sellers practicing, I don't know. You got to ask Coach Beamer. I don't know.
Yeah, talk to the big guy. That's not me.
I can't answer that for you.
Above my pay grade. I love somebody who gets paid $1 million. Like, hey, that's above mine.
That's above me. Yeah. Got to keep. Yeah, but they're keeping it close to the vest. Yes. They're not going to let us know anything about Lenora Sellers' availability. I think there's a real level of gamesmanship at that point. That, or they genuinely don't know. Maybe he has practiced a little, because we talked about the gray area. He said if you don't do anything on Tuesday and Wednesday, then you don't get to play. Is he doing something, and that counts as anything?
Yeah,
and
we talked about that yesterday. It's like, okay, what is he doing? Because, yeah, if he walks through the building, he's doing something.
Yeah, what is considered practicing, right? So Shane has a hard and fast rule about Tuesdays and Wednesdays. If you don't practice, you don't play. I would imagine that the sliding scale for practice is different for different players, especially quarterbacks, because they're not hitting anyway. So he could be taking mental reads, right? Mental reps count as practice, right? Right.
To some.
He could
Eating some nutritional food in the football facility, that is also
he could be
practicing good something.
He could be going through his reps. He could be walking the field.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of different things you could be doing that could be considered practicing, especially for a quarterback. So,
Or participating.
I will go out on a limb to say that Lenoris is practicing. What is he doing in practice? I don't know.
Right. It could be anything. Or maybe he is actually practicing. I don't know.
We don't know.
It would be a better than expected recovery from a concussion if he was able to practice by Tuesday, I would say. And I'm not saying that's impossible, but that would be what I would consider to be better than expected in terms of result. But I want to put on my Brian Windhorst hat here, right? We're going to put 2 and 2 together. So on Sunday morning, the line opened up at -3.5. Not 24 hours later, it moves to 13.5. Now, if a point spread changes by 1 or 2 points, it's often just a result of a lot of money coming in on one side in Vegas sports books, which are businesses, and businesses that are really good, as Jay Phillips would say, of parting you from your money, trying to get even action to cover themselves for any certain outcome. But when it goes up to 13.5 and it goes up 10 points, that tells you they don't think Lenoris Sellers is going to play. But yesterday, before the press conference, it goes from 13.5 down to 10.5. It didn't go all the way back down, but it went down to 10.5. Something to notice. I got my Brian Windhorst fingers up. I am noticing that there is some significant line movement. That could be one of two things. It could be they think Lenoris Sellers is going to play. They know something that other people don't. Or the public, the betting public, or what they call the sharps, the people who spend a lot of money in this thing, and they gamble a lot of money, and that's how they make their living, are putting so much money on South Carolina to cover 13.5, regardless of who plays. That would cause the number to go back down. So, if we are in the realm of speculating here, in the name of Brian Windhorst himself, Wendy would have his 2 fingers up and saying, why would that be? But that adds a little more to the mystery as to whether or not we see 16 suiting up in Como Saturday.
I think it's adds a little bit to the mystery of whether we think he's going to play. I think they, inside the building, they have an idea of what's going to happen. The other part is the folks out in Como. And I'll be honest, they're preparing as if Lenoris is playing.
Oh, you don't kind of have to.
You don't go into this game thinking, well, maybe not, the Luke Doty kid, because they haven't seen anything. And also there's no evidence to say that the game plan would be any different with Luke Doty in. And he doesn't have an especially different skill set than Lenoris. So the idea of this being gamesmanship is not that big a thing because they are already preparing for Lenoris. And if it's not Lenoris, they're just going to take a deep breath.
Yeah. They're like, okay,
great.
Operate the same game plan.
Same game plan is going to be going in. The only way this would be different is if, say, 2 years ago, you were thinking Spencer's hurt. Mm-hmm. And now they're bringing in this other kid who can run and he has a different skill set. Luke doesn't
know how good he could
be. Right. He didn't know how good he could be. Luke doesn't really have a different skill set than Lenoris. So there's really no different preparation. So if I was the defensive staff in Missouri, I would just be preparing as if Lenoris was playing, and nothing would really change for me specifically. So I wonder what the value of the gamesmanship is because they're just preparing that Lenoris is going to be there.
Yeah, and as you should. If I'm Missouri, I am saying, all right, I'm going to prepare as if he's going to be there, and if he's not, we're running the same game plan, and if we have to adjust, we'll adjust.
If they show something different, we'll do something different. But there's no evidence to say, because in the second half of that game, when it was Luke Doty, it looked like it was the same offense.
Because that's what I wanted to figure out yesterday during Mike Shula's press conference, and that's one of the things I wanted to say. Like when that happens, how different does the game plan change? This will be cut 4. I asked Coach Shula, what changes whenever Lenoris goes down and Luke comes in and you have to adjust to different skill sets?
Yeah, I think a little bit, but we try to work as hard as we can. quarterbacks and coaches, just to where it becomes seamless if the next guy up has to go in. But yeah, you want to try to kind of tailor it maybe to the guy who's in there. So as we know, when it's hard to get equal reps to all quarterbacks. So if a guy is not starting, then he's probably not getting as many reps. So one of the things you try to do is kind of like, okay, hey, what plays do you like? What plays in our system? I know you like everything. I get that. I know you like everything, but what plays do you really like? And then you try to call those plays in the game, and especially if they're the things that you saw during practice that they're doing defensively, they're doing.
Does that give you anything?
Not particularly.
It made it seem like, to me, the spirit of the offense is the same.
There you go.
But you might just run different plays or different variations of certain plays if the backup or whoever comes in, whether it be Luke, Air, our boy Jimmy Francis, whoever's in there, he was being thrust into action, will at least get a few that they like.
Yeah, you have to, and as he said, you have to pry him a little bit, because it's, you go to Elijah and say, what do you like? Oh, coach, I love everything. Everything works for me. It's like, no. And the better question is, what plays do you not like?
Right.
And then you just be like, no, for real, tell me. He's like, well, coach, honestly, every time you call HY back flood, I hate it. Thank you.
All right.
Take your pen out and you mark it off.
Mark it off.
So maybe there's something like that, but that's consistently happening throughout the week for game planning anyway, except it's usually just happening for the starter guy, and the backup just gets whatever they get.
Mm-hmm.
And now this week, maybe you take a little bit more of the backup's thoughts and opinions into consideration.
We'll continue to take more of a look at Missouri, and we'll continue in the next segment to hear more from Mike Shula, because the offense is going to be a big part of this game. It's been the biggest struggle so far this season for the South Carolina Gamecocks, finding consistency, getting more than 17 points put up on the scoreboard by way of your offense. And it's not getting any easier because you're playing a good Missouri defense, and, of course, the status of your starting quarterback still TBD. We'll hear more from Coach Mike Shula coming up next.
All right, folks. First quarter of the season is done. 3 games down. We are in the second quarter officially. Don't wait. Call the folks from Integrated Media so you can get your outdoor setup ready. Get a Samsung Terrace TV that's waterproof so you can watch all of the great games that are playing. You can get Sonos outdoor speakers for TV and music. Wi-Fi that works indoors and outdoors so you can have all your devices playing at the same time. Take advantage of the beautiful fall weather. Have your iPad, your iPhone, your laptop, your TV, all playing all the various games so you can watch them and keep tabs on everything that happens. Control all your devices from just one remote. From home theater setup to adjusting your thermostat, maybe it's monitoring your security system from your cell phone. Integrated Media is the company that you need to call. So call Nathan and Michael at 803-948-8327. That's 803-948-8327. Or reach them online at integratedmediainc.com.
Report of an accident, I-20 eastbound between Highway 6 and Highway 1. The right lane is currently blocked. So if you were approaching I-20 eastbound between Highway 6 and Highway 1, you're going to want to stay left. And that forecast looking pretty darn nice, really, for the foreseeable future. 89 today, 90 tomorrow, and then we stay in the mid to upper 80s for, again, the foreseeable future. So kind of welcoming that well into next week. 64 currently on 107.5 The Game.
Offensive coordinator Mike Shula has been the brunt of a lot of Gamecock fan frustration, and he's got a big game ahead of him because if you're to beat Missouri, you're going to have to score more than 7 points. I would say you're going to have to score more than 17 because Missouri's offense is clicking on all cylinders right now, and they have the best running back in the country. That's my declarative statement for today, is that Ahmad Hardy is the best running back in college football. I think he will get his. You have to find a way to combat that. So how do they combat that? Well, staying on the field and prolonging some drives is a good place to start. And how do you do that? Getting some consistency from your offensive line. I think the right side of the offensive line has played well for the most part. Mm-hmm. They made a vital mistake, a pivotal mistake on Saturday. And that's why we're talking about Lenora Sellers' availability today. The left side has struggled a lot. But how does Mike Shula evaluate the offensive line performance? This will be cut number one. He was asked right off the bat yesterday in yesterday's press conference.
Well, I think, again, I think I answered this question last week, too. I mean, I think offensively, we've done some good things and we haven't done some good things. I think they fall into line with a lot of us. So yeah, we just keep working on consistency. You know, as an offense, the negative plays kill you. It's pretty cut and dry. You know, you keep the ball moving forward, you stay out of the negative plays, you get a better chance to move the ball and score points. So can't get the ball moving backwards, can't have the ball moving backwards. However it is, whether or not it's up front, whether or not it's another position. Again, offensive line a lot of times gets noticed, sometimes for the wrong reasons, or they get noticed when something negative happens. But there's a lot of good going on there. All I know is our guys practice hard. They're getting better as with experience, whether or not they're young guys or new guys to our system. But we have to be better as an offense.
You got to be a lot better. Yeah, I was getting ready to say the understatement of the day is you have to be a lot better on offense.
And being consistent, can we not be consistently mediocre?
You'd hope.
I mean, I don't want to hear consistency until we've improved the package or improved the performance. Just a thought.
And you're going to need it on Saturday. And in terms of consistency, he mentioned the negative plays. You will not survive this game. As a matter of fact, the game can get ugly if you keep living in the negative play department. If you keep hanging out on that part of football town in negative play square, you're not going to find yourself winning many games.
Yeah, and this system has unfortunately has a history of going backwards. We talked about SEC StatCat. We're going to effort them to see if we're still in that realm. But for the past 2 years, we've been, I don't want to say led the nation, but we've been one of the best in the nation at going backwards, which is not a distinction that you would like. So, yes, obviously you want to stay out of those situations, and that comes from blocking, tackling, blocking early, staying on your blocks, being able to make something out of nothing if somebody does leak through. So there's a lot of ways that can happen, but you do not want to go backwards, behind the chains, all of those cliches that you hear.
Well, because in a game of two different offenses, Missouri does not move backwards a lot at all. especially in the run game, where they just, I mean, we'll get into more of that specifically on run the ball, but they don't go backwards. And that offense has put up some absurd numbers. Yes, they've only played one power conference opponent so far. And yes, it was Kansas and not in basketball. But they do run the ball really well. This will be Missouri's best test in terms of running the ball against South Carolina's defense. But I still have faith in Missouri's offense to eliminate a lot of negative plays, even if the explosives are rather limited. But for Carolina, you keep going backwards and you put yourself in third and longs, especially if you have a backup quarterback. That's putting more on Luke Doty if he has to be the one playing than you would like to have on him. You would like to put him in positions to where a 3rd and 4 is a manageable get. That's a reasonable ask, right? You would like to give a backup quarterback, if he is to play, reasonable asks, right? And the more that you are going into 3rd and long, 3rd and 9, through 3rd and 12, or heaven forbid it's worse, that is too much of an ask for a backup quarterback in a game of this magnitude.
Also, in these situations, those long down situations allow the defensive coordinator to open up his playbook. So now he gets to bring all the exotics, and he gets to bring the field blitzes and drop zones and blah, blah, fire blitzes, because now he has this opportunity. So that's something you probably want to keep your eye on. Maybe tomorrow when we look at keys to the game, that might be eliminate negative plays, which is a key to any game, but maybe more so specifically for this one.
Especially considering you good chance are playing a backup quarterback, right, in that game. It makes it more important to eliminate those negative plays. One thing that we talked about yesterday from Shane Beamer's press conference was when he went off on his tangent about Carolina's offense, that they run the same plays. Mike Shula was asked about that. Got followed up, maybe some clarification on whether or not they run the same plays from last year. This will be cut 7.
Yeah, I would say there's a, when you offensively, there's a lot of, you work in the offseason during training camp, things like that, to have kind of a core set of plays, running game-wise, passing game-wise, whether or not it's whoever's running the ball, running backs, quarterbacks, whatever, and then you try to build off that with variations. And I think, all through my career and in every offense I've been in, I think offenses have that. You have a base and a foundation, and then you have, variations off that, whether or not it's a similar run with a different add-on, so to speak, or same exact run with a different formation, or same run with the same formation.
Do you like ground beef?
I had it last night, actually.
Okay. Ground beef.
Yes.
A staple of any budget-concerned kitchen, right?
Yep.
You get the ground beef. But what do you do with this ground beef? You put it in a pan. Now, from there, that's when things can get interesting, because you can put some tomato sauce on the ground beef. And now you might have spaghetti. But if you take that same ground beef and you put some taco seasoning on it, now you can have tacos. Right? You take that same ground beef, you make a patty, you got a hamburger. That's all offense is. You take the same base right here, you put a little zhuzh on it, and now you have something that's a little bit different. That's all he's really saying in that instance.
So what flavor palette are we going to see in Missouri?
There you go. But this leads to my big question. What is our ground beef? What is our thing that we have?
Are we 90-10? Are we 80-20? Are we?
What is our thing? Right. What is our thing? What are we using? What is the thing that we have that's the center of the offense in which we make all these variations? For me personally, I can't figure out what the centerpiece. Are we a ground beef team? Are we a chicken breast team? Right? What exactly are we to build our offense off of?
And it sounds like they've already decided, because they said same plays last year, same variations of plays last year. Well, now you got to find out, okay, we're just strictly buying ground beef. Do the kids really like tacos? Do they like beef stroganoff? Is that a little too much for their palate? Or do we just need to do spaghetti every night? Because we do it well, and the kids love it, and it works every time. Do you find do they have the variation right now of the ground beef that is going to work? Because based off of what Shane has said and based off what Mike Shula has said,
maybe you're a meatloaf team.
And maybe they are a meatloaf team.
I don't know.
Wrong with that.
But
you do it well.
Exactly.
And right now they're not doing it well, right? And whatever the variations are, the kids aren't loving it. The kids are asking for Pop-Tarts because they don't want to finish the meal. right? I'm not speaking from experience from my own childhood, right? They're asking for something else because they don't like it. What is the variation that they can live with and that is going to be successful for them to where you don't limit your offense to just a maximum of 17 points? Because after 4 games with Mike Shula under the helm, that has been the ceiling so far. What variation breaks past that ceiling of 17 points? Because that is when you can get this team back into the same conversations that we were having just a little over a month ago. It's time to make Preston not mad at ground beef, but maybe mad at some of the numbers. Old man versus analytics. We'll take a deep dive at Missouri by the numbers coming up next.
Preston from Cato's Power Equipment. Cato's Power Equipment has been family owned and serving the Midlands since 1983. That's over 40 years. And third generation owner Ben Cato provides top-notch service, great deals, and the mom and pop values that you love. Ben is determined to raise the standard of sales, service, and retail. At Cato's, we are proud to offer a wide selection of new and pre-owned mowers, tractors, and more. So if you're ready to invest in something new, the friendly team is there to make the process easy, help you choose the right equipment, find financing options, and keep your gear running strong with expert service and parts. Whether you're a weekend warrior or a seasoned landscaping pro, Cato's has got you covered. Huge selection of new and pre-owned mowers, powerful tractors, and all the gear that you need. So swing by Cato's Power Equipment today or call them at 803-254-3711. That's Cato's Power Equipment at 803-254-3711.
If you're traveling on I-20 eastbound, be mindful that between Highway 6 and Highway 1, that's between exits 55 and 58, the right lane is blocked, so you're going to need to stay left due to an earlier accident. And a pretty consistent forecast on the way for us. 89 today, 90 tomorrow, mid to upper 80s really through early next week. Not seeing huge rain chances, just a few chances maybe tomorrow or Saturday. 64 right now on 107.5 The Game.
Time to take a little bit of a deeper look at Missouri as we're getting our first look at the Tigers from Como. I'm telling you, a lot of what I'm about to read off matched a lot of my eyes when I went back and rewatched the Kansas-Missouri game in its entirety yesterday. I saw enough of the Central Arkansas game and Louisiana game. I think those can only tell you so much. But there are a few impressive things here with Missouri. Now, how much of this is sustainable for them going into Saturday throughout the course of the year when they're playing SEC opponents is another thing entirely, which is another thing that I think that the nation will learn once these two teams actually meet on Saturday. But starting with Bo Pribula, the quarterback transfer from Penn State, who got what I call the Tim Tebow snaps at Penn State, where he wasn't the starter, and he wasn't even somebody who came in and got a lot of reps. But if it was 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 4th and 1, 4th and 2, Drew Aller would take his happy rear end to the sideline. Bo Pribula would get in that whatever package they had for him, and he'd usually run it or run some type of read option, and they'd get a first down. Worked with a lot of success.
It just dawned on me. Was Bo the guy that left during the CFP?
Yep.
Okay. All right. I remember the story, but I didn't connect the two. So that's him.
That's
right.
Bo Pribula.
And that's not. I mean, obviously that's a tough situation, but because the way the transfer portal's set up, you have to make a business decision.
He had to make a business decision.
All
he
right.
wanted to be a starting quarterback, and he goes to Missouri, and he's the starting quarterback.
Gotcha.
Sam Horn got hurt in that first game, but I firmly believe that they were going to start Bo Pribula anyway. So Bo Pribula, as good as a lot of his numbers are, his pressure to sack percentage, something that we have cited in terms of our sacks a quarterback stat, well, this should tell us a little more, is 25.9%. That's very high. You don't want to be over 17 or 18 in that category.
So a quarter of the time that he's pressured, he gets sacked.
Correct.
Gotcha.
His only interception this year came when he was blitzed. They've been blitzed 33% of the time this year. This should be a big Clayton White blitz game.
Can be a big Clayton White blitz game, but I feel like we're just going to have to repeat what we just said last segment. They're going to have to win in early downs, keep that running game at bay. Maybe you don't have the negative plays because Missouri doesn't do that, but if you win your success rate early downs, that gives you an opportunity to dial up some of those blitzes later.
And then be able to make him or kind of coax him into mistakes.
Correct.
Not analytical here, but it was one thing I did notice when he does run the ball, susceptible to fumbling. Kansas peanut punched a ball out when he was making a play happen. He's scrambling and he's running for a first down. He's got the first down. He's even trying to go down. And in the process of going down, Kansas linebacker, it might have even been Bengali Kamara, if I'm not mistaken.
It was.
Yeah, Bengali Kamara.
It exactly was because I wasn't watching the game, but I was kind of clicking by, and I was like, there's got to be only one Bengali Kamara.
That is the Bengali Kamara that you know and love.
I'm sure there's not a bunch of those walking around the nation, right?
They don't have a Bengali Kamara factory that is just cranking them out. Nope,
yeah.
Only one.
Okay.
He's at Kansas now, and he did force a fumble on Bo Pribula. Now, one of their biggest non-Ahmad Hardy transfer portal additions, Kevin Coleman. He's a 4-school and 4-year guy, but at Mississippi State last year, he did have over 900 receiving yards. Was without a doubt their best weapon in an offense that at least moved the ball a lot. Well, he's at Missouri now, and he's caught 24 of his 27 targets for 258 yards. Now, his ADOT, or his average depth of target, is only 4.8 yards. So he's not stretching the field a lot, and he's in the slot almost 90% of the time. but he averages over 7 yards after the catch. This is a game where Brandon Cisse will need to be exceptional. Not good, but exceptional.
Brandon Cisse is going to need to be exceptional, yes. However, the team will also need to be exceptional in tackling. This goes back to the old Lou Holtz conversation where he used to always say about we have to stop the run. Asterisks, all the runs, running the ball and the run after the catch. And so for this guy, the way you stop the run after the catch is when you're a sure tackler, you gang tackle, you get people you get hats to the ball, pursuit, all of those different types of things. So yes, Brandon Cisse needs to be great covering him, but if he does catch it, or if and when he does catch it, we need to rally to the rock.
Or not be too far in separation when he does catch the ball. Because he catches the ball in some space, that's how he picks up an average of 7 yards after each catch. Even if you don't make the play on the ball, you can at least limit some of the damage if you're not 3 or 4 yards behind him, because you give him a head start. Kevin Coleman is fast enough to make you pay for it. So I think Brandon Cisse's job not only is to try to make sure he doesn't get the ball, but stay close enough to him, because I have a feeling, obviously Brandon Cisse, nickel corner, is going to be getting a lot of that assignment right there and making sure that he is not in a position to kill you after the catch. Now, as a team, Missouri only has 8 missed tackles in 3 games on run plays. 8 missed tackles in 3 games on runs. Rasul Faison, Oscar Attaway might have their work cut out for him on Saturday.
That's very impressive. That's an impressive number. Considering you take that number, that's 8 for 3 games, and I believe we had 10 on Saturday.
Yep.
Right? So let me repeat that. They have 8 for 3 games. We had 10 on 1 game. Granted, it was our worst game on defense.
And that was rushing and passing.
And it was rushing and passing, so you can play with the numbers however you want to, but that is an impressive stat. And yes, that means that you might have to make some people miss. And also, because our offensive line has a tendency to have some leakage, that means you're going to have to do some dipsy-doing behind the line of scrimmage in order to make something.
And your best running back at doing the dipsy-doing is Rasul Faison.
Correct.
Is this a game where Rasul Faison gets north of 20 carries? Could be, if you're not down early. Now, if you get down early and you are forced into throwing downs, then you might not be able to have the luxury of giving Rasul Faison the ball 20-plus times.
And here's where I would also like to say this. Maybe Rasul Faison does not get the ball 20 times, and maybe we look at this as a total carry game between the quarterback and the running back. Now, that depends on who's the quarterback, because even though he's cleared to play, I probably would be a little bit more reluctant to run LaNorris as many times as I would like to see
after a concussion.
A concussion. But if it's Luke Doty, run him.
Run him.
Run him as much as possible.
Luke's a good athlete, too. Last one here, edge rusher Damon Wilson has a pass rush win rate of 24%, a massive number at the college level, on 46 pass rush snaps. So a large sample size, and he's winning at the line 24% of the time. Carolina might struggle to keep the pocket clean for long. Therefore, the downfield passing game might not be available to them.
I think that's something that you might could bank on. But again, looking at the availability report, I did not see Casey Henry's name there.
Which is a plus.
Nobody would have ever thought I'd be saying this based on the conversations we had last year. But you feel confident. Casey Henry playing the best out of the offensive linemen. You feel pretty confident that he can win some of those battles the way he's playing right now.
And when he plays, you're going to need him to, because, again, Damon Wilson is winning at the line of scrimmage 1 out of every 4 snaps. That is mightily impressive. One of the best numbers I've seen so far, I guess, in terms of looking at that. And he's not the only one, too. They have a bunch of other guys that have equally as high pass rush win rates, but with significantly fewer snaps in pass rush. Like, instead of 46, it's like 9 or 10. But large sample size, Damon Wilson's proven he can get to the passer. So that's something to watch for on Saturday as well. But then we'll go back to the numbers that are the most impressive. And we do this every week with the opponent. Run the ball. How is this game going to be won in the trenches? How will the running game affect what we see on Saturday? Well, Brent Key's favorite segment is coming up next. I like to fancy myself as an athlete. Used to be at one point, but I can be really clumsy. And last night, when carrying gelato to the living room, I definitely made a little bit of an oopsie, and there was chocolate on my carpet. On my carpet. And that is disgusting. And I had to clean it up. It wasn't a lot of fun, but Zerz might need to make a visit to my home to make sure everything is clean, because sometimes you do step on a carpet and it can be described as either gummy or matted down, or if you're like me, you just spill stuff on it. This month, though, I can take advantage of Zerez's promotion, where the more you clean, the more you can save. 3 rooms for $119, 4 rooms for $144, and 5 for $169. You can save up to $30 and schedule with Zerez today, because I know I'm going to be, because their patented cleaning process from Zerez uses no harsh chemicals, and it's a cleaning that's safe for everyone. Schedule online, like me, at ZerezColumbia.com. Brent Key's number one advice he would give you is to run the ball. And that's what we're going to do in this segment because that's what Missouri does, maybe better than any team in college football after the first 3 weeks. That's their entire shtick. And also it helps that they picked up Ahmad Hardy in the transfer portal, who was the best freshman running back in college football last year. He may be the best running back in college football right now. And my declarative statement of the day is that Ahmad Hardy, after 3 games of sample size, is the best running back in America as we speak. He's second in the nation in rushing yards with 463 in 3 games. He just got done torching Louisiana in 22 carries, 252 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He torched Kansas when they played with a monster touchdown run. But out of those 463 yards, he has 340 after contact. Preston Thorne, 340 yards in general would be good enough for 7th in the country in rushing yards.
It's Thursday. I know we put our Garnet goggles on Tuesdays, but he has 340 yards after contact.
Yes.
That means he's getting hit. That means that there's leakage. That means that there's possible potential for us to wrap up, tackle, and stop him before he gets going. Are my goggles too Garnet?
Based off what I saw, he was contacted in the Kansas game. There was some contact in the backfield. Not a ton, but clearly enough for him to fight through. He has forced 28 missed tackles in 3 games.
Yeah, that's an issue. So obviously, if tackling was not going to be an emphasis this week, you combine it with the performance from last week and then who you have coming into town or whose town you're going into, tackling is the thing.
It is now the thing, right? And he's picking up almost 6 yards after contact on average. Again, that's one of the reasons why I say he is the best running back in the nation right now. He also has 14 rushes of 10-plus yards, 7 of 15 or more.
Jen, can we get clip number 15 here? This is Clayton White talking about the missed tackles. This is him explaining what happened or how they're going to correct it.
Definitely some missed tackles. That was our highest number of the year in regards of just not getting guys on the ground when we had opportunities. I think our angles were bad. I think that we were not pressing the near hip enough. I do believe that it's something we emphasize a lot. You have to just carry those things over to the game. It's our job as coaches to put them in those positions throughout the week to replicate that, that skill set and do a great job of just finishing and understanding obviously we can't tackle at practice, but you have to take the right angles at practice, have the right mindset, and just know that when it comes on Saturday, you have to, get it done the best of your ability.
Yeah, Tingley over there was talking about tackling technique.
Pressing the near hip, sitting in the chair, all the good things. Need I remind everybody that my favorite play from last year was when Nick tackled Luther Burden in the flats one-on-one to what I thought win the game until he threw the touchdown to him, which I thought lost the game, but then we launched him and we won the game. There's a lot going on at the end of that. Just had to
press the launch him button at the end.
Yeah, it's the end of that game. But, yes, my favorite play from last year was Nick in the open field making a tremendous tackling. And tackling is something that you take for granted, but it is the hallmark of a sound, fundamental defensive team is your ability to tackle.
And you have to do that. That is a non-negotiable right now. And not only do you have to just be passable in that regard, you have to be great at it. Another thing that's really tricky, last year, as good as Carolina's run defense was, there were 2 games where the opposing team ran for a lot of success on them. Illinois in the bowl game, Missouri here. And it's because of those outside zone runs, those stretch plays. All of that could be really tough. Missouri, as a team so far this year, 78 zone runs, 50 gap runs. That is going to be a heavy emphasis and something that is really difficult to have to defend against.
And I would position that the reason why Illinois had that success was because they just watched the tape from Missouri and basically said, copy, right? Copy, paste. Take that game plan, put it in ours, we'll run it. And that game was frustrating from a fan perspective last year and imagine how frustrating it was from a player because there came a point where you knew what they were doing, couldn't stop it.
Couldn't stop it.
It's a tough spot to be in as a defense. So they're obviously preparing for that. And Eli has no problem running it again. For the video game players out there hitting triangle.
No huddle, same play. Same play.
He will do that over and over again. So that's something we have to pay attention to.
It is hour one is in the books. Hour two coming up next.
Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long, and you can play right now in South Carolina. Playing Underdog is easy. Just pick your favorite players to go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. This week, I'm taking not my favorite player, but I'm taking Tyreek Hill to go lower than 64.5 reception yards, and I'm picking him to go lower than 5.5 receptions because Mike McDaniels cooked. Download the app today. Sign up with the promo code EARLYGAME to score $50 in bonus funds when you first play your first $5. That's promo code EARLYGAME. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks, win money. Underdog must be 18 plus and present in South Carolina. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/playing get terms_DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Earlier tie-up on I-20 eastbound between Highway 6 and Highway 1 has been cleared, so traffic should be moving along a little bit better than it was, and if not, it will be shortly. Sunny and 89, that will be our forecast for today, and then a mix of clouds and sun for the next couple days. 90 tomorrow, 88 on Saturday, 87 with mostly sunny skies come Sunday. Currently 64 on the early game.
Hour number 2 of the early game starts right now. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. We're taking our first look at Missouri this morning, and we'll start with our first call of the day. AAA Heating and Air phone lines. Drew is on the line, wanting to compare some offenses. Drew, good morning. Welcome to the early game.
Thank you, guys. What concerns me is, I hear Missouri is so difficult to defend, defend and defense, and Vanderbilt was so difficult to defend because they do so many things, misdirection and motion and all. And then I hear our offense, and we're not hard at all to defend. And I just don't understand. It seems like every opponent we play, we hear, how their offense does all this well, and then our offense is kind of like you're left blank. And I hate to say it, but Shula kind of reminds me of Marcus Satterfield's understudy, which is very concerning. So I just don't understand, with the talent and the coaches we have, why, just when you compare other offenses, I always hear about how, it's so great. They do this and this and that. And we're kind of left blank to discuss ours. And the last thing is I'm going to give the lock of the week in high school football. Somerville is going to curb stomp Chapin tomorrow night. And I mean curb stomp them, Preston.
You have Preston's attention.
Yeah,
my man.
0-4, 0-3, whatever they are, they're awful. My daughter goes to Chapin High School, and they're not good. But that's the lock of the week. Green Wave will probably hang 70-plus on Chapin High School. But seriously, the offense is just concerns me. I hear about, Missouri does all this well and so tough to defend and on down the road, and then, just get y'all thoughts on that. Why we don't take some of the things these other teams do, and why don't we do them? And maybe we'll be tough to defend on offense. I don't know.
That's a really good point.
Thanks, guys.
Drew, I think that's an astute observation. It's something I've been trying to get to the heart of. And I said it about what's our ground beef. When that sounds out of context if you weren't listening earlier. My point was that if you have ground beef, you can make 20 different meals out of that, but that has to be the base of it. And when we're talking about all these other offenses, I think the key word that we're missing is identity. After 3 games of watching our offense, though it has been successful at times, I don't feel as if there's a distinct identity to the offense. And I think that may be what Drew is getting at.
Identity is the heart of it. What's Vanderbilt's identity? A lot of misdirection. Essentially running a modern version of the triple option offense, right? It is tough to defend on its own. Really, no matter who runs it, there's going to be some trickiness to it, but Vanderbilt also executes that at such a high level, like what Missouri does, right? There are a lot of teams that run a lot of outside zone, that run a lot of stretch plays, but they usually recruit offensive linemen that are really good at running out there, getting out to space. Armand Membu from Missouri last year, who was a top 10 pick in the NFL draft this past season, is now playing for the Jets, Jets.
Poor Ahmad.
Yeah, poor Ahmad. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about you, buddy. But got to where he is because he was so good in outside zone. That's where his bread is buttered. But one thing Missouri did last year, because if you notice, instead of a rent a quarterback thing, they rent a running back. That's been kind of like what they've done, right? They pulled Cody Schrader out of D2, and he ended up becoming an All-American. They pulled out Marcus Carroll from Georgia State last year. They didn't have a successful running game because the dudes in that backfield were not as good. But it will still give teams trouble if their offensive line is able to execute that game plan really well. Now you have a good chunk of that offensive line back. Obviously, Membu ain't walking through that door. But you have a couple of all-SEC guys at center and left guard. And you have a running back who might have been the best freshman running back in the country. Not might have been. He was clearly the best freshman running back in the country last year at the Sun Belt level. And clearly he has proven he can do this at any other level. I think that type of identity helps that offense a ton, but also they have to execute it. And I think the one thing this offense isn't doing right now isn't executing any of the variations of the same plays they ran last year. We'll take the coach's word for it. We'll take Shane's word for it and Mike Shula's word for it. They're running the same plays, but different variations of them. They just haven't executed them consistently enough. You see the flashes, right? You see the flashes on the scripted drives against Virginia Tech and Vanderbilt. And you see the flashes when, in the Virginia Tech game, Sellers hits Harbor for a bomb, and you have the occasional explosive play. but you haven't seen them consistently put together drives throughout the course of a game that are finished and results in touchdowns, to where it's hard to get in an identity if you're still trying to figure out a lot of things.
Yeah, and because you need rhythm to build upon things and to have a building blocks, and that makes a lot of sense. And the other part I want to make sure to bring up that a pro-style offense is not an identity.
No.
That's something that you hear. That's something that was associated with Mike Shula. That's something was associated with Dow Loggins. That's something that was associated with Marcus Satterfield. But that's not an identity, because when I watch the pros on Sunday, I see different offenses. Baltimore's offense is not the same as Buffalo's offense. That's not the same as Los Angeles' offense. It's not the same as the Commanders'. In the pros, they have different styles of offenses and different signatures. So just to say it's a pro-style offense, that means nothing. So I think what Drew was getting at, and I agree, is that I would like to see our offense have a distinct identity. I really don't care what it is. Something that you are good at, something that you can be successful with, and something that you can replicate.
Well, that's what they did last year, right? What was the offensive identity last year in the last 6 games of the season when you won all last 6 games? Let's even include the Alabama game in there, right? Where you lost, but you were successful offensively in that game against a really good defense on the road in a hostile environment. They ran the ball well. They utilized Josh Simon. They had their easy button on offense, which was, it's 3rd and 6. We need to get the ball in the air and put it to somebody in someone's hands. Lenore Sellers was finding Josh Simon, right? You almost knew sometimes that on an obvious passing situation, Josh Simon was going to get the ball. And teams tried to take Josh Simon out of the equation. Still couldn't do it. And if the pocket breaks down, Lenore Sellers would make magic happen. That was kind of the identity of the team's offense.
Cool. Let's roll with it. Because if the fans know what's coming and the other team know what's coming, that means your team knows what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And they know that when they get in this situation, these are the plays we're going to call, and we're going to execute it because this is what we do. And so I would be more focused on what we do well as opposed to trying to hide or make a mirage for the other team. You just do what you do well, and you can do that consistently.
Growing up, I heard about the Packers sweep so many times. Like, my dad didn't have an NFL allegiance, but he watched a lot of the NFL when he was a kid, and he loved watching the Green Bay Packers. He loved watching Bart Starr and Vince Lombardi coach teams, and he'd tell me all the time, the only play they needed to run was Packers sweep. You just need to know if it was going left or right, and you could tell them you're going to run that play before the play happened, and you couldn't stop it because they executed it so perfectly. It didn't matter if, you had Connor Stallions on your sideline and you're stealing signs and you know that Packers sweep left is coming. It didn't matter. They were still picking up chunk plays on it because they just executed it so well. I don't know what this team is executing well enough to where you can hammer it home, right? And we heard it yesterday. Shane said that, when it comes to going back to the drawing board on offense, sometimes they go back to the drawing board every game, and that everything is kind of dependent on what the defense does. All well and good, because every team does that, right? I mean, you're going to watch film on the other team's defense and say, what can you do to be able to exploit their weaknesses? But at the same time, you got to have some things that you do well enough that you can rely on those plays or those actions in an offense, whatever it is, to be able to get a first down when you need it, to be able to finish a drive in the red zone when you need it, because that's another big thing I just feel like we've talked about enough, is that once you get to the plus side of the field, are you converting? That answer is no. One of the worst red zone teams in college football right now. That also is a thing. When you get to the red zone, what is it that you can do that no matter what a defense throws at you, you execute it and you will have success?
Yeah, and that's what you want to make sure that you see going into this game. Obviously, none of that matters. We just spent 9 minutes talking because we have to figure out, is 16 going to be on the field?
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the big question, right?
That's a huge question.
That's the question. That's the only question that matters.
Yeah, because 16 is that good. And it doesn't matter if Luke Doty was really, really good or not really, really good. That's the difference, right? When you have a quarterback as good as Lenore Sellers and as talented as he is, when he leaves a game or is not available for a game, your outlook on the offense is completely different. But what does Luke do well, right? What does Mike Shula think Luke Doty does well, to where if he has to start and play the entirety of this game against Missouri, that they can rely upon? This was Mike Shula's answer when asked about that. Uh-oh. false start.
So Luke he's a really good communicator, does a good job of getting people lined up, and he probably what you all saw as well. Some really good things, some things that were okay, and some things that we'd probably like to have back. So. But Luke's smart. He's very conscientious. He's very inclusive with the guys on the sideline, guys in the huddle, and does a really good job communicating there, and then also with us. So has good ideas and thoughts, and he's a guy that you can tell has a lot of experience, but kind of like the offensive line, and all of us just keep working for that consistency.
He runs the operation well.
Which is good.
Which is good.
Which is a bonus point for a backup quarterback.
Yes, that really is one of your main jobs, is to stay ready to be able to make sure plays are getting in on time, that everybody knows what the play is, you're a clear communicator, and that whatever the game plan is will get at least carried out, and then you worry about the execution part once you get into that situation.
That's great for a backup quarterback. However, that's what I didn't hear was what he does well within the scheme of the offense. Does he execute short passes well? Does he throw the deep ball well? Is he a runner? Does he have a great option game? I would have loved to have heard more of that as opposed to the things that, to be quite honest, for the amount of time that Luke has been in the program, he should be able to do those things.
Yes.
He should be able to communicate the offenses. He's been in all of them. He should know what Luke should be sitting there, and when Shane gets ready to give a speech, he should be able to complete the sentences because he's heard every speech.
You don't need ChatGPT to recreate a Shane Beamer speech because Luke can just be like, I got you. Yeah, I've heard enough of this.
This is exactly what he's going to say here. So that's awesome. I do think it's a beneficial, but that's not enough to win a game in the SEC against a good SEC opponent, in my opinion.
No. He will have to be exceptional on his own right. If he is playing in this game, yes, it is very good to get the play in. It's very good to get the guys organized where they need to be and being a clear communicator. But you're going to have to make checks at the line. You're going to have to make plays happen with your feet. You got to be able to extend plays. You got to be able to make some tight window throws. You got to be able to make a lot of the plays that he wasn't able to make in the second half against Vanderbilt if they are to win this game, especially on the road. And maybe that's where the communication part is a bigger plus because of being in a road environment that is sold out. Even in Missouri's unfinished house, also unfinished house alert. Have you seen one of their end zones? Still some construction going on there.
Very much dislike that stadium.
Yeah, it's gross. As now it's an unfinished gross house. But there will be a lot of people, and it will be really loud. And you're going to have to be able to communicate well. And that's something that the offensive line's had trouble with communication. So maybe that is going to be a plus. Not even maybe. It's going to help.
It is. And I don't want to I'm not downplaying that.
Yeah.
Because all that stuff is important pre-snap. Yes. But then you have to snap the ball.
Yes. He's going to have to be exceptional once he snaps the ball.
Correct.
Too, right? And it's going to have to be better than what we saw against Vanderbilt because it's good that you were able to move the ball with some success. It's not good that you didn't finish drives. You had a few drives in the second half that went past the 50-yard line. A few that went to Vanderbilt's 35. And again, out of all the trips that you had to Vanderbilt's 35, which is about normal field goal range of the college game, you had 5 of those. You scored 1 touchdown. Will not be enough to get that done against Missouri. Our morning meeting's coming up next. We have some unfortunate news as part of those announcements. We'll do a reset on the availability report for the SEC, and Ray is coming back to talk about the offense. All of that and more on the early game morning meeting.
Presser here for our friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. So if your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. If it's a cracked windshield, that's no problem. They'll come out to your location and they'll replace it for you, usually for free, and they'll work directly with the insurance to take away the headache. That's right. They'll come out to your location and do the job for you, get the insurance to take away the headache. Now, if you're at home looking to increase the value of your home, you can do that with new windows and mirrors, and Absolute Glass will take care of that for you too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. Say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne, Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
Clemson Road at Longtown Road, report of an accident there. And we're reporting really good weather for the next several days. 89 with sunshine today, 90 tomorrow, 88 on Saturday. And sunshine comes back in full force on Sunday, a high of 87. Right now, 64 on the early game.
As we do every day at 7:15, it's time for the early game morning meeting filled with announcements. One unfortunate announcement, some calls, and our pal Nick Harvey from Team WIS joins us because coming up after this is the early game Underdog Challenge. But without further ado, let's get the meeting started.
After me. Today will be an awesome day. Let's go. Good morning, great today. Today will be an awesome day. Good morning, great today. Today will be an awesome day.
Starting off, though, with some unfortunate news. This kind of broke late last night. I saw it before I went to bed. It was reported, this is from the State. This is from Jackson Castellano from the State. Headline reads, Gamecock quarterback great Connor Shaw in hospital after apparent health scare. And the first part of it reads, former South Carolina quarterback Connor Shaw was hospitalized Wednesday night after reportedly collapsing at his son's football game. Shaw was in the emergency room at Prisma Health Greenville Memorial Hospital as of late Wednesday, according to a source. His condition was unknown, and unfortunately, that is about all we know. It goes on to read that various personal social media accounts reported that Shaw fell or passed out during his son's football game and was taken from the field by ambulance. Again, further condition is still unknown.
And as I say for a lot of these things, just wait and see.
Yeah.
There's no need to jump out and try and find or be first or anything. Wait for the folks who do this professionally to figure something out. You don't need to, this is not a time where you need to go to the message boards or you need to hear from on high. Or you don't, just wait and see. Obviously, it's an unfortunate situation. We'll keep him in our thoughts and prayers, and we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep Shaw in your thoughts and prayers and his family. A obvious, scary situation that went on with him. So we'll if we get anything, we will let you know, but we're not going to give anything unless we are 1,000% sure or it is reported from a trusted source. So that's something just to keep in mind throughout the day. Last night, the initial report for the SEC availability ahead of South Carolina, Missouri. Should we start South Carolina first or Missouri first?
Let's start with us.
I'm
more important because there's a headliner there, but there were a couple other ones that I thought were even more interesting, honestly.
So we'll start with who is doubtful. Tight end Michael Smith, defensive back Judge Collier. Now, Collier has missed every game since the opener. He's only played about 6 snaps this season because of a sprained knee. He is listed as doubtful. Michael Smith did play against Vanderbilt, but also considered doubtful for this game. In terms of who is questionable, wide receiver Mazeo Bennett and quarterback Lenora Sellers.
Okay, so doubtful is only one step above out.
Yes, that is the closest thing to out without being out.
Now, and also, we know Judge Collier has a knee sprain, which is we feel like that's considerable amount of time. Did I miss Michael Smith being injured during the game, or is that something?
I missed it.
Is that something?
Yeah, Nick missed it as well.
I didn't see it at all.
Okay. I was just wondering if that was something I missed because that was really interesting and surprising to me when I saw it. And football's a strange game. You could be hopped up on adrenaline, and after the game, you can realize, oh, I sprained my knee.
Yeah.
Didn't know it until after the game. That can happen. So I'm not saying there's anything nefarious happening. Just that's not something I noticed during the game.
One thing that you also noticed of a name who is not on the report is Kason Henry, who had to leave the game early and did not return.
Correct.
But is not listed on the availability report at all, which tells us
if you're not on the availability list, that means you're available.
Because they have a special category for out. And look no further because Missouri's got 3 players listed as out. Kicker Blake Craig, quarterback Sam Horn, and offensive lineman Logan Reichert.
Quarterback we knew. Kicker, is that a big deal or not? Not a big deal?
Blake Craig did not play in the Kansas game. I don't know if he played against Louisiana, but
didn't need him though.
Well, they could have. It did get hairy. It was a close game late. They could have needed him, but they definitely didn't need him against Louisiana when they won 52-10.
Gotcha.
But that is the availability report going into this game. We also like to invite our friends onto the morning meeting. 803-404-6100, AAA Heating and Air phone lines. Ray is on the line waiting patiently. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning, Elijah. Good morning, Preston. And, of course, good morning, Jen. I was listening to what you guys were talking about earlier about no identity on offense. And I think about the term it's a bad matchup. And normally you hear that in basketball. Mm-hmm. You'll hear it's a bad matchup, and sometimes in football as well. But when you hear that term like it's a bad matchup, it just basically means it's just a kind way of saying your team's just not good enough. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yes and no. I mean, sometimes it is that you're just not good enough. But sometimes one team does something well.
Anyway, there could be a bad matchup for one player trying to guard an All-American wide receiver. I understand that.
Yeah.
I begin to think the term no offensive identity means you're just bad on offense.
Yeah.
You just can't get it done. You can't get out of second gear, as they say on the show Friends.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that describes the offense. But I got to thinking, and it does seem like that Lenore's probably isn't going to play. And if it's concussion, I don't think he should play. That's just my take. I know that I don't know what his condition is, but those things don't heal overnight. But anyway, if it is, if we do go with Doty as our quarterback, I was just thinking, I could be wrong. Maybe somebody from the Myrtle Beach area can correct me, but I believe he was a triple option quarterback. I mean, why not just put in a triple option? Maybe you keep the ball longer, which means Missouri's offense won't be out there as long. Now, I don't know if you can score because we haven't proved we can score, but I don't know. It's just a thought. I mean, I've seen a couple of times where Luke, when he was the starting quarterback in, I guess, the first year of Beamer, and we were playing Kentucky, and it was an ROP or whatever, read option play or whatever. And had he kept the ball, he could have gone around the end for 70 yards. I don't know if you guys remember that play or not. But anyway, I just got to thinking, if Luke is going to be your guy and we're a 2-touchdown dog at this point, maybe go higher, God, why not put in the triple option if you can possibly run it? I know it's hard to teach, but if Luke ran it and if the running back at least catch the pitch, why not? But anyway, hey, it's getting Thursday. I'm getting more positive, even though my head says we don't have a chance, but my heart says we can do it. So we'll see what happens. Thanks a lot, guys.
I do love the optimism. Yeah, thank you, Ray. Appreciate your call as always, man. Yeah, with Luke as the quarterback in this game, I think Mike Shula yesterday alluded to at least trying to run some plays that he likes to run, that he is comfortable running. I think a lot of those probably will involve option plays because Luke Doty's not a statue, right? Like, if he was a statue, you wouldn't have felt good at putting him at wide receiver the last couple of years. And there is an athletic element that you can maybe tap into to help limit the possessions for Missouri.
Yeah, well, can I turn that up a little bit?
Turn it up a lot.
I think, he's more than not just a statue. He was brought in as a dual threat guy. I don't think he technically ran the triple option in high school, but he was definitely a dual threat guy. And I would say even more so towards his legs were the thing that were the most appealing about him. And he's a big, strapping dude that can, he's a very physical presence back there at running back. So you can't just put in the triple option because that's pretty intricate, but there are things that he can do.
Well, and that's one of the things, like Rick and I were actually talking about this the other day, and it's not noticeable always, but Luke Doty is one of the faster people on the football team. Like, he is a freak when it comes to his speed. And he might not, like I said, he might not look like it when he's in pads. For some reason, he almost, like, when they lined him up at receiver, he looked like a tight end to me the whole time. But I know how fast he is. I've seen him move, and I think that they have to, lean into that a little bit. But like you said, they talked about, or Shula talked about yesterday, putting in offensive plays specifically that your quarterback's going to like more, if he's getting thrown into this situation. But I think that's the case for anybody, is they're trying to make sure that there's as comfortable as a transition as possible, that everybody's on the same page. And if that's the case this weekend, how many plays is that? Are they limiting that certain amount? Are they trying to expand on what Luke can and what they don't want to do with him?
Early game underdog challenge. That's next.
Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. And you can play right now in South Carolina. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick your favorite players to go higher or lower on stats like touchdown, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. This week, I'm looking at Tyreek Hill, who's not my favorite player, but I'm going to take him to go lower than 64.5 yards receiving and 5.5 receptions. Download the app today and sign up with promo code EARLYGAME to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code EARLYGAME. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in South Carolina. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Still working that earlier slowdown, Clemson Road at Longtown Road. 89 the high today, 90 tomorrow, 88 on Sunday. Just a very nice, consistent forecast for middle of September. 64 currently on 107.5 The Game.
Before we start the early game underdog challenge, just want to remind you to keep listening this hour because you will have a chance to win cash because today is the start of our cash contest. There'll be a cue to call, so I'm not going to say anything that's going to tell you to call or text, but there will be a cue to call or text. You have to listen. You can win yourself some cash today. So just keep an ear out for that. And that will happen this hour. So that's your hint. That's all I can give you. That's all I can give you. You just got to keep listening for a chance to be able to win some money. But now it is the early game underdog challenge. And oh boy, poor Jen. Poor Jen still in goose egg land. And she was so close. If Max Gilbert wasn't scared of his own shadow before that kick against Georgia, he could have earned Jen some points. Can't even hear her disappointment.
Should we try that again?
There we go.
You know,
Microphone's on.
It's been a day in here. Oh, my gracious. Okay. Yes, I'm just like this close on so many things. And yeah.
We were watching that in the press box, and I was like,
no.
Jen's got a chance. There's 3.5 underdog challenge points on the line here. And Max did her no favors. Did her
angry
none.
with him. I was going to send him a hate letter, but, you know.
He's probably getting enough of that already. I know he's getting enough of that
So
already.
that I'll take the mom approach and feel really bad for him.
So Jen's still the only one without one left because it was a big weekend for Preston and Team WIS and our man Nick Harvey over here. Not only did they hit on 15.5
Lobos
with the Lobos at UCLA. Not only did they win by 15.5, they would have covered if they were favored by 15.5, which is funny enough. And that's the game that got Deshaun Foster fired. So they also got that, and the Colts redemption kick against the Broncos tacked on an extra 1.5 points. So 17 points in one weekend for Team WIS. Big weekend for Preston, too, because what do we do on the early game underdog challenge? Well, yes, you pick underdogs, but also we get coaches fired, apparently, because Preston took Old Dominion at 7.5. So
I had a hunch.
Yeah, Preston had a hunch, and that hunch was correct. And he also took the Falcons at 3.5 at the Vikings, and he cashed in on that too with a grand total of 11 points.
Rise up.
Wasn't happy about that one.
My boy Pudge helped me out. Bowling Green State took care of Liberty at home, so that was 6.5. I earned 6.5 points that week, so I'm at 13. So our standings right now, Team WIS first at 17. I am in second at 13, Preston at 11, and Jen is still trying to get onto the scoreboard. So with that being said, we'll start this week where I will kick us off in college. And this might have been my easiest one yet. And the line's gone up because it was originally at 4.5. It's now at 6.5. Illinois underdogs at Indiana because I think Illinois is going in there and I think they're winning. And I think they might win convincingly at Indiana.
I think it's disrespectful that Illinois was an underdog in this game.
To begin with.
Why?
This is the same as New Mexico last week.
Wrong team favorite alert. Like that's what we got going on right now. So I couldn't pass up the opportunity to take Illinois, a team I think is a genuinely better team than Indiana, to win that game. I don't even care if it's on the road. I don't think anyone's been scared to go play in Bloomington. So give me Illinois at 6.5. So that leads us now to Team WIS with pick number 2.
Well, we had a consensus on a college team, and it was Illinois. So I'm digging through the archives here at my research.
It's a tough spot.
It was a really tough spot.
Everybody's got to play it until you get hit in the mouth. Fun Mike Tyson quote.
I'm going to go on a limb here. I think West Virginia's riding a high. I think they're getting a little bit of disrespect in their big spread here. Give me the Mountaineers at plus 13.5 at Kansas.
Ooh.
No Rock Chalk Jayhawk over here.
Ooh, that's a big one right there. West Virginia, yes. I mean, that was a pretty big win against arch rival Pitt in the backyard brawl. Exciting overtime win. So at plus 13.5. That one is at Kansas, correct? I believe. At Kansas. Yep. So West Virginia at Kansas plus 13.5. That is Team WIS's selection. And now to Jen.
I'm going to start, if I don't get on the board this week, I'm going to start my own underdog challenge. And it's a challenge of whether I can get on the board because I'm the underdog in the underdog challenge. So
the underdog of all underdogs.
You know what? I'm going to go against the Purple Pants people. Taking Syracuse.
Oh, Syracuse.
Boy, the quote machine will be turning if that happens.
Come on, Fran.
On multiple fronts, the quote machine will be turning. Clemson is a 16.5-point favorite, so 16.5 points on the line.
You know what? If
for
I
Jen
don't
Jensen.
go for broke,
Yeah.
I can't catch up. So
Hey, I mean, you win this game, you're right back in it.
I know.
If they win, Dabo's not going to the beach. So.
That's right.
Yeah,
He's not going anywhere.
No, he's going to go take his $60 million and go shopping. Yeah.
And live happily elsewhere. Now, Preston, you will have two straight. You'll have the last college pick and the first NFL pick.
Well, he doesn't even know the name of the team that he's playing. He called them Central.
Oh, no. Oh,
Give me
strike one.
Give me the Knights. Central Florida over North Carolina.
Oh, wait, Central Florida is favored?
No.
I believe they are. Let me double check.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Maybe-
UCF is 7.5 points favored. in
Change
game.
that. Change that. Switch.
Audible.
Audible. Give me the Fighting. This is a tough one. What are we going to do here? What are we going to do here?
I hope this is one with so many options. I don't think we're going to have another UMass off like we had a couple months ago.
Give me the Fighting Pete Limbos.
Oh, the Fighting Pete Limbos at Buffalo. Going into this game against Troy. They're 6.5 point favorites.
I keep picking favorites. What am I doing?
The minus means they're favorites.
Oh, no. Might have to reconstruct this all. I'm looking at the James Madison Liberty game.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Now, I think we found a bit. Picking on Liberty. But in this instance, you'd be picking Liberty to come back.
That's right.
Because they're home dogs.
Give me the Fighting Jamie Chadwells.
The Fighting Jamie Chadwells are plus 8.5 in this game. Now, they were the recipient of an underdog loss this past week, but home dogs bark the loudest. Always a good strategy to go with. But they're 8.5. Now that leaves you the first NFL game, Preston Thorpe.
Make sure I'm pretty sure I read this one right. Last week, let Russ cook. Ooh. And I will also say that Travis Kelce is cooked.
Oh.
Give me the Giants.
No.
Give me the Giants.
Looks like we have some pick thievery. The New York Giants are plus 6.5 against the Chiefs. That would make the Chiefs 0-3. This is the first time ever that Patrick Mahomes, as a starter, starts a season 0-2, which means it'd be the first time that he ever goes 0-3 to start a season. So Preston's trying to hope that Russ cooks. Last pick before we hit the break, Jen Jensen, your NFL game.
Since he stole mine.
Thievery.
Lions over the Ravens, 4.5.
Oh, that's good. Lions over the Ravens at 4.5. The Lions looked pretty good.
Little Monday Night Football action.
WIS is not happy about
I
that.
stole one.
Top choice.
I love that.
Lions at plus 4.5.
That means it won't work well for me.
I do like that one too. That's one I kind of had on my radar too. So you stole it from both of us. So both people behind you stole your picks from. Nick and I will make our picks coming up next, and we'll also tell you who won the listener contest. All that and more coming up. Before Nick and I make our picks in the early game Underdog Challenge, we do want to give a shout out to our listener winners from last week. That would be AJ, who took New Mexico plus 15.5, and in the NFL took the Commanders at plus 3.5, and
Nice.
Jeff, who also took New Mexico at plus 15.5, but took the Browns at 11.5. So that's why we have a tie. We'll be reaching out to both of you, Jeff and AJ, in regards to a prize. And of course, you can play along with us, 803-404-6100 on the Firehouse Subs text line. College and NFL game. Underdog must win outright in terms of universal point spreads here. We're using ESPN Bet. So whatever it is on ESPN Bet is what the point spread will be. Have up until 9 o'clock to submit. Once 9 o'clock passes and the show is over, we'll take no more submissions. I'll be reaching out to you to let you know that your picks are locked in.
The Lobos started a national movement, let it be known.
They did. They did. You inspired other people to take New Mexico and fade UCLA, and that seemed to be a really good strategy.
You weren't wrong.
Over the weekend. So now, that being said, so far in college, I have Illinois plus 6.5 at Indiana. Team WIS has West Virginia at plus 13.5 at Kansas. Jen has Syracuse at plus 16.5 at Clemson. Preston has Liberty plus 8.5 versus James Madison. And he's got the Giants plus 6.5 versus the Chiefs. And Jen has the Lions, which is my number one option, at plus 4.5 at the Ravens. That now leads us to Team WIS and Nick Harvey.
There's two options here. We didn't come to a consensus. I got a text message last night from Julia Westerman with her thoughts, and I got a text at 6:45 this morning from Rick Henry with his thoughts, which I did not expect whatsoever. And it's obvious that I think we're trying to make another splash here. Biggest spread this weekend, and I think it's a legacy game inbound for Spencer Rattler at plus 7.5 heading to Seattle. Give me the Saints.
I hope you're right. I hope you are right.
I believe.
2 straight losses to start the year, and they were both really close losses. They were one-possession games, and it's not Spencer's fault. He's played really well. He's top 10 in the NFL in QBR. I'll take that. If only the defense didn't have all their best players 33 and up.
It's who dat, right?
That is.
Okay.
Who dat said they're going to beat them Saints?
That's me.
2010 Super Bowl champions. Don't you ever forget it. But I'm glad you didn't take my pick, because the Indianapolis Colts have been the darling of the NFL. The surprise 2-0 start. They have a division rival. They have to go to Nashville. It's a pretty decent point spread. I think the pixie dust might wear off for Indianapolis. Give me the Titans at plus 4.5 to beat the Colts.
You know, my shtick is, you got to have a coach and you got to have a quarterback. I don't know if the Colts have either, but they do have Big Blue.
Oh, my gosh. I love that mascot.
And he is making an impressive – he's having a run right now.
He is having a run. Blue is having quite the run right now, celebrating with the team, being 2-0, being the best mascot in all of the NFL.
He's having a great season this year.
Yeah, he is.
Breakout season.
And if you do not follow him, you need to. Twitter, Instagram. Yeah, he's the things that he'll do, like he's bounced a ball from the flag stand at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway where he drops something and then it ends up in a bucket. I mean, lots of trick shots. He's fun to watch.
He does his own stunts.
Yep.
Blue's like a stunt man. He does his own stunts there.
He's got those it's not confetti, but it's those little like the noisemakers where if you blow on it, it sends a little streamer out. He's got those
out of his nose.
Yeah.
Oh,
Classic.
yeah.
And
yeah.
that just come on, man. That's good.
I mean,
That's a
good
classic.
stuff.
That's
And-
pure, clean family fun.
Yeah. And,
that's a classic.
and that's been a big thing I was telling you guys yesterday. The pies in the face. Like there's all of a sudden, you could be sitting there and here he comes around and bam. Yeah. It's like, love that.
Oh,
Just
see, the pie in the
sticky.
face is a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
Like he is the most
fundamentals.
fun.
Those are classics.
Yes.
Those will never not be great.
It's like blocking, tackling.
If there were like a tier list of mascots, I think you'd put Blue, Gritty from the Philadelphia Flyers,
Hilarious.
and Blooper from the Atlanta Braves at probably the A tier,
Blooper's
I
great.
think, of mascots. Those three kind of really like compete with each other.
There is a common denominator in all of them. They have very large bellies that move around. They have very large mobile bellies, and they dance with them.
They do some
That's
outlandish
pretty
things.
Yeah. So, but I'm hoping Blue is very disappointed after the Titans game. So that gave me 4.5 points.
Cam Ward's playing well.
Honestly, Cam Ward had a play in that Rams game that was a don't you ever do this again, but oh my God, good throw. Where they're in the red zone, pocket collapses. He takes like 5 steps backwards, rolls out to the side, throws it across his body, but it ends up going right into the arms of Alec Iamanair, and it's a touchdown for the Titans. And it's just one of those things, especially when you watch like the all-22 angle of it, the entire time you're like, oh my God, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh my, what a throw. Okay, good throw. Like that was the ultimate J.R. Smith. What are you doing shooting that? Oh, it was nothing but net. All right, good shot. It was like he's shown some flashes. I'm a firm believer in Cam Ward. I think out of all the quarterbacks in this past year's draft, including Jackson Dart, Tyler Shuck, Shedeur Sanders, all of them, Cam Ward was without a doubt the best one. He's playing pretty well so far.
He is.
So
I completely agree.
I'm believing in him to get it done on Sunday. That's the early game underdog challenge. But coming up next, Jen Jensen's going to fire up the grill. It's going to start sizzling. And we're going to tell you who is cooked going into this weekend in college football and in the NFL, including someone who might be coaching for their life tonight. We'll see. That's coming up next in hour number 3. Protection is key when it comes to your home or your business, and you got to be able to trust somebody to keep your building safe and protected, and I trust Midstate Roofing. And it's not just me. It's been the entire state of South Carolina for nearly 30 years have been trusting Midstate Roofing to protect their home, whether it's high-rise, hospitals, manufacturing to industrial. Midstate Roofing for 3 decades have been designing and installing bonded systems with that protective guarantee that will keep your home or your business protected no matter what type of job it is. And they continue that theme of the protection by protecting that roof with a maintenance contract. So call them today, 803-356-1919, and you can always send them up online at midstateroofing.com. And remember, if you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Clemson Road at Longtown Road, still working that earlier slowdown. Also, Malfunction Junction earning its name today. I-26 eastbound at I-20. And I-26 eastbound there at Piney Grove Road, also a report of a slowdown. Mostly sunny is what we're looking for your forecast. 89 today, 90 tomorrow, staying in the upper 80s for Saturday and Sunday. So a really nice forecast on tap. 64 currently on the early game.
Hour number 3 of the early game starts right now. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. He's Nick Harvey from Team WIS here in the studio with us. And before we get to who's cooked, while Jen's firing up the grill, making sure that she's got everything over there to cook some folks in college football and the NFL. Cool thing we're doing on Saturday. A ton of coverage on the station. Obviously, you can hear the game if you're part of the Gamecock Radio Network. But on 2 o'clock, Gamecocks Game Day will be live from O'Hara's on Main Street in Lexington. Myself and Tyler Head will be driving that ship over there, getting you ready for this game, leading into the coverage of the network. And at 7 o'clock, there'll be a viewing party at O'Hara's for South Carolina at Missouri. If you're not able to make that and you're just going to be at home, that's fine. Tune into YouTube on our YouTube page, The Game TV. Preston Thorne, Nick Harvey, and I will be in our podcast studio, live streaming our reaction to the game, breaking down things as they happen. We have so many of you participate every day on our YouTube page, on our comment stream. Well, we'll be able to answer any questions you have in real time, right? Or if you want to tell me how good I look that day, how good my hair looks, I will accept that. I'm going to accept that. So you can watch along with us, pull us up on your iPad, your iPhone, or, your desktop, whatever it is, your Motorola Razr, if you can still access YouTube on those things. You can hang out with us while you watch South Carolina, Missouri, because we will be watching live and breaking down, giving you our reaction in real time. A fun project we've been working on for a while.
That's going to be super
this
fun.
weekend, we get to do it. Mm-hmm. We get to do it. So the first 107.5 The Game, your Game TV watch along.
The only issue is that our studio is beautiful and we can't wait to reveal it everywhere, but we don't have a camera. We need one of those cameras like in the game that's like on the wire.
Oh, like a wire cam?
Yeah, because I'm a pacer.
Okay.
So this is going to be interesting to see how this works for me.
Well, let it be known, I'm getting a whiteboard.
Yes.
I'm going to bring a whiteboard.
Nice.
Because I think there could be some real nerding out with the...
See, if you weren't going to, I was going to as well. I can bring a backup whiteboard.
Backup whiteboard.
Yeah,
I
we could have 2 whiteboards in here.
Yeah.
Dual whiteboard.
The great plan.
Don't forget the dry erase markers.
Yeah.
And tissues. We're an eraser.
To be able
an
to,
eraser.
Yeah, we're going to be erasing and drawing up a lot of stuff.
I've been run game scheming at work multiple times this week. So
Uh-oh.
it's
You're going to be geeking out.
That's definitely the fallback doodle. You just doodle the dude plays up. Yeah.
That's what I do. Yeah, morning meetings. I shouldn't probably say that on air, but yeah.
No one's listening. It's fine. It's cool. This is a conversation between friends.
Just X's and O's.
Draw up a little ROP.
Yeah, you know me. Shout out Ray for inventing a new offense.
We ready.
We're exploiting a market inefficiency here with the ROP. But if Mike McDaniel runs the ROP, maybe he does not get cooked. But as we fire the grill up, I think the first person we have to address on who is cooked, I think Mike McDaniel is number 1 on the list because the Miami Dolphins, 33-8, embarrassing loss to the Colts on the road. They lost their first divisional game against the Patriots, a should be winnable game. If you want to make the playoffs and you're the Miami Dolphins, you have to beat the Patriots. Well, as Tua Tagovailoa, as we now know him as Tua Turn the Ball Over, shout out someone on the Firehouse Subs text line.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. they're in trouble. And you know what? It's not getting any easier because tonight they got to play Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, and Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills have things to accomplish. They don't have any time to let the pesky Dolphins get in the way of what they're trying to accomplish. Yeah, I would. You said it before the break, but I think Mike McDaniel's coaching for his job. And here's the problem: if you're coaching for your job in week 3, it's a long season ahead of you.
Yeah, it is a very long season ahead of you.
And it can get really bad because Mike McDaniel's not known as a disciplinarian. Tyreek Hill's obviously going to be on the bench sulking or throwing his helmet or doing something. Tua just keeps saying ridiculous things in his press conferences. I don't see there would be a lot of hope for that.
You're right, but I think if we lose Mike McDaniel, we lose a very entertaining head coach.
That's true.
Too, right? Like,
good point.
It's a loss for us as a football-loving society.
For entertainment purposes, we don't get to watch him run away from cameras anymore, say weird things in press conferences. It's just, like, that's what concerns me the most. The Dolphins, cooked. Mike McDaniel, just a little bit longer. That's all I need.
You guys like Gator Bites? I love Gator Bites.
Okay.
Me too.
Okay.
We're going to throw that on the grill, and we're going to season it with some Billy Napier because he's cooked. I mean, the loss, no one expected them to go to LSU and win because of how they played against USF. But LSU's offense decided to not show up. If you told me going into that game that Garrett Nussmeier and that offense would only score 13 points on their own in that game, I'd say you not only have a shot to win, you should win. And you know what? Maybe you could have. If your quarterback, your star quarterback you recruited, the recruit that was supposed to save your job initially, throws 5 picks, including a touchdown pass to LSU, oh, they're done. Because you know what? They got to play Miami. And not only are they playing Miami, a team that is impressively 3-0 and is scoring all over the place. They are cooking, correct. They are cooking. That was the game chosen to be College Game Day's location. So this game is going to be in a spotlight. You can't just hide from this, right? Like, it's one thing if you're in a season in which you are cooked and you're playing games on ESPN Plus, and maybe it's out of sight, out of mind publicly. No, this has an opportunity to be a bigger national embarrassment for Billy Napier and the Florida Gators, because I don't think there's any way they win this game.
Speaking of out of sight, out of mind, does anybody care about Wisconsin football anymore?
Oh, they are MIA.
2 friends of mine who are graduates or have kids who have graduated, those I think are the only 2.
Are they? Yeah, they're probably.
And they're not happy.
I assume they're not happy. So I put Luke Fickell on the grill. You're warming up, buddy.
Yeah.
It's not good because Wisconsin is a staple. It's a part of the college football landscape, and they played Alabama last week, and it was a nothing.
Well, let it be known, I've never met a Wisconsin fan.
So Nick can't confirm they exist.
I have no record of that.
Well, they're in hiding now, for sure.
Yeah, they are.
They're in hiding. A proud bunch. And as I was just looking up, through the Google machine. Here's the reason why he's definitely cooked. Barry Alvarez said that they didn't compete last weekend. Not good when the legend said. No. He didn't say that they lost. He said that they didn't compete.
Didn't even compete.
That's not a great sign.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. And he hasn't been very complimentary of that program the last couple of years.
It's true.
And also, who should? Because they have been bad. They tried to go away from the entire, program's MO of being a dominant run team. They brought in Phil Longo to try to space things out and try to air it out a little more. That failed miserably. They haven't been able to get a quarterback in here who could run any offense for Wisconsin. It's been an absolute disaster. And what should have been the safest home run hire of that coaching cycle has turned into being one of the biggest disasters. They don't compete in big games. They are irrelevant in the Big Ten picture, which is, a top-heavy league. There's space to be able to at least be in that middle class of the Big Ten. Why Wisconsin can't be what Indiana and Illinois are is astonishing.
Think about that. We're talking about a big game in the Big Ten, and it's Illinois versus Indiana. Wisconsin's not even mentioned.
Nope. Afterthought.
Along with Michigan State. Check that. That might be something we throw on there, too. But you brought up something really interesting when you said that. Wisconsin goes and gets Phil Longo, a guy who is known for his offense. He has an offensive identity. The only problem is his offensive identity has nothing to do with what Wisconsin has ever done.
Pun intended. It runs counter to everything they do.
And so Wisconsin has a mismatch in their identity, and it's just not working. They hired Phil Longo. Phil Longo's like, hey, man, you know who I am. You know what this was. Why are you surprised? This is what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And people are complaining about it, but it's not his fault. It's their fault.
It is an absolute disaster over there at Wisconsin right now. Now, I don't want to put them on the grill just yet because I thought they performed admirably at Ole Miss. I thought they were really good at Ole Miss. And they had a chance to win the game deep in Ole Miss territory, but fumbled it away. Don't play around, Sam. Don't play around because Sam Pittman has to go to Memphis. That's a noon game on ABC. Arkansas is a 7.5-point favorite, but Memphis is good.
Why didn't anybody get that one?
That was on my list.
Was it on the list?
It was on my list,
but
yeah.
Picking first, I didn't need a list. I just needed my one. But if I were picking after, let's just say Nick and I swap spots.
That's one to
this
keep
would
an
have been
eye on.
the one I would have picked.
And here's the issue with that. If you know ball, you know Memphis is playing well, and you know they're traditionally been very good.
Yep.
However,
High floor.
the idea of you losing to that team could send some people off the cliff.
100%. Yeah, I mean, I think Arkansas fans, we've learned possibly are some of the most on-edge fans in college football. And it only takes one big mistake, even a minor mistake, and they're burning everything to the ground. They're ready to start all over again. Like that, I think Sam Pittman is on a very short leash, and I hate that because
I love that guy.
If there's a coach that I love in college football right now, it's Sam Pittman. That dude
another
is
coach we don't want to lose.
Amazing. Yeah.
we want him in front of the microphone.
I love that guy. I do.
But, I mean, Ty Richardson, a pal of mine who works over at works in Arkansas, has been covering them for a long, long time. Long-time radio host there. When he joined us on SEC Media Days and we asked what the vibe of the fan base is like, he said it's apathetic. Like, apathy has now set in, which is always like the worst sign imaginable. Maybe he won them back because, yes, they beat some really bad opponents. I think it was like Alabama, A&M, and Arkansas Pine Bluff is who they started the season with. But they scored like 70 points, put up big numbers, beat them the way you should beat them. And then you go to Ole Miss, and you're in a position to win that game. You don't fumble that ball under 2 minutes left. I think they get in the end zone and win that game.
It was a bad fumble, too.
It was a bad fumble. Oh, it was a terrible fumble. But you could have won that game. You had Ole Miss right where you wanted them, and you couldn't close it out. If you follow up that performance where Taylor Green looked like Superman, and then you go to Memphis and lose, which is a real possibility, because, again, if you want to talk about teams that are all competing to get that G6 spot in the college football playoff, 3 of them are all in the AAC, and it's South Florida, Memphis, and Tulane. Memphis needs this win so they can kind of puff their chest at the end of the year if they win their conference and say, hey, we deserve to be in the college football playoff. They're going to be very motivated. Memphis is always motivated to beat an SEC team. That's usually when they are the most motivated, is when they play an SEC squad, whether it's Tennessee or Ole Miss or Arkansas, who they see with relative frequency. That's not going to be a cakewalk by any means. And if Memphis wins that game, poor Sam, we're going to have to put him on the grill. He's not on it yet because he was simmering at the beginning of the year. I think he's won some grace where he can maybe take it off. But if they lose this game on Saturday, it's going on and it's going to char up pretty quick.
Well, that's what I was just going to say, too, quickly. I'd like somebody who is charred, burned, you're probably throwing it away and you're not going to touch it, UCLA.
Oh,
that's. I mean,
as the institution,
the
as
whole
a football program.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah,
that is the.
I think we agree. Virginia Tech has some redeeming qualities for that job. A passionate fan base that's going to be able to invest. Right. The problem is they haven't gotten investment in other places. But once they do, I think that place has enough cachet and history to where the next guy who takes that job will have a little bit of an easier time than they would at UCLA. Because at UCLA, you don't get any of that at all. Even when Chip Kelly was there and they were all right, they still didn't bring a lot of fans out.
Why Chip Kelly's not there.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll rather just go call plays somewhere.
Right. And he's back in the NFL.
Yeah, I'll leave there too. Get a natty. I'll leave there and I'll go somewhere else. So yeah, that is interesting because UCLA and Virginia Tech are on opposite ends of the spectrum because the vibes are bad at UCLA. I would argue the vibes are up at Virginia Tech. Because what's more fun than a coaching search?
Yeah, you got a coaching search. You get your first pick of the
That's
litter.
fun.
That's true.
The vibes are high.
And who do you trust more in a coaching search in terms of athletic departments, Virginia Tech or UCLA?
You think, they're probably looking at, we can get, I don't know, Shane Beamer, Urban Meyer, Newt
Urban
Rockne.
Myers.
We can get Vince Lombardi.
John Gruden.
Gruden.
He's out there.
This is fun
Spider
times.
2Y banana.
Virginia Tech fans are living right now.
They are. It is an awfully intriguing proposition for them if you're a Virginia Tech fan, because you at least, firing a coach this early in the year, you can make calls a whole lot earlier.
So much
you
fun.
Anticipated.
Michael Vick.
I mean, that's a name that's been on.
Fun times.
In terms of a serious one, John Summerall at Tulane. I would be blowing up his agent's phone. I would be blowing it up. We're continuing our look over at Mizzou. Our first look at Mizzou has been on today's show, but we'll get a perspective from Missouri. Michael Stamps, writer for Mizzou SI, joins us next here on the early game. I tell you all the time about my friends over at Pro Swing. Michael Geddes and his crew have a fun operation over there with their golf zone simulators where you can play anywhere and you get all this cool information about your swing. You're able to get a free 30-minute swing evaluation. Honestly, it's perfect for the casual golfer, also perfect for maybe the young golfer in your life who wants to develop their game into the future. But right now, Pro Swing has fall leagues that are still available. Now, spots are running out. There's not many spots left, and time is ticking because the first week of league starts September 29th. It's September 18th, so time is running out. Go ahead. Call them today, 803-528-1617, and ensure your spot in one of their fall leagues, and it can be at either the Forest Acres location or the Chapin location. They also have anytime or dedicated league nights. Requires a little advanced booking, required per week. Again, that number 803-528-1617, and get in on Pro Swing's Fall League.
And as far as traffic is concerned, I-26 eastbound at I-20, yep, accident there, slowing things down. And just to add to it, I-26 eastbound at Piney Grove Road. So a little extra time needs to be allowed to make it through that area. 89 for the high today, 90 tomorrow, and then mid to upper 80s for the remainder of the weekend. A little bit overcast currently, and 65 on 107.5 The Game.
It's time to get the latest on the Gamecocks' opponent this weekend. They're trying to bounce back after a loss to Vanderbilt. Missouri's vibes pretty good after destroying Louisiana in their last game, going into their SEC opener. And joining us right now to discuss it is Michael Stamps from Mizzou SI. Michael, good morning. Appreciate you taking some time to talk some ball with us.
Good morning to you as well. I appreciate you. Having me on. I'm always down to talk about some Missouri football. It feels like I never stop doing it. It feels like I know the team like the back of my hand at this point. So I'm excited to do it.
First question, before we get into the real serious things, do you all acknowledge the Mayor's Cup, or what's going on with this trophy game here?
You're probably asking the wrong guy. Honestly, I'm from Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay.
So. And I've been watching Mizzou football. I'm a junior in college, so
Okay.
I've been watching Mizzou football for 3 years. So if you ask someone a little older than me, I'm sure they'd say yes. I'm aware of it. I think most football fans and most deep cut Mizzou football fans are probably aware of it. It's probably acknowledged, but I don't know if it's exactly at the top of the rivalry pedestal.
Okay, that sounds about right.
I would acknowledge it more if it didn't look like somebody just Googled, what does a trophy look like? And okay, yep, that's what we're going to make this award for winning this rivalry game every year. If it just looked cooler, I would acknowledge it, but it does not. Therefore, I don't completely acknowledge it. But Michael, this Missouri team, incredibly interesting. A lot of new pieces, and a lot of them have shown out pretty well so far. We'll start out with the quarterback position. That's the one everybody talks about. But Bo Pribula got a small sample size of what he could do at Penn State. He now has the reins over at Missouri. You got a quarter of the season in the books. What's kind of the word on him? What's been your evaluation of Bo Pribula so far?
Yeah, I mean, how can you not be impressed? I feel like going into this season, everyone could talk about was his ability to run the ball and what he could do as a play extender and on his legs and design runs and things like that. But he's been incredibly accurate. When he's throwing the ball down the field, it looks really good. He's been able to connect with a variety of different wide receivers as well, which I think has opened up the offense a little bit. And I know Missouri's first three opponents haven't been overly, competitive. I mean, Kansas was a good game and a solid team, but it's not going to be the best team they play all season. But he's looked really good in all those games, and it feels like when they've shut down his ability to pass the ball, he's been able to run, and when they've shut down his ability to run, he's been able to pass the ball well, like we saw against Kansas. So, I mean, he's really been able to do everything so far. His lone interception was just objectively not a very good throw. I think he would probably tell you the same thing. So I mean, yeah, he's been really impressive so far, especially throwing the ball, because I think a lot of people had questions about that.
Yeah, certainly. But I think one thing I think everybody is not, or I guess nobody is surprised about, is that Ahmad Hardy, after that incredible freshman season at Louisiana Monroe, comes to Missouri and immediately picks up where he left off, second in the nation rushing yards. And if you just included his rushing yards after contact, he's top 10 in the country still. In a remarkable season so far. What is kind of your evaluation of him and how much he's been able to elevate this offense?
I mean, even in my 3 years at Mizzou so far, I've seen some pretty incredible running backs, obviously with Cody Schrader, and there's a pretty deep history at the position there, but I don't think I've seen anyone here break tackles like Ahmad Hardy does. It's ridiculously impressive, and he's a big guy, but he's not the biggest not the biggest running back you've ever seen, but he just bounces off defenders. Has great contact balance and just really refuses to go down, but he has that speed as well. I mean, he had a 70-yard touchdown against Louisiana, and he broke tackles at the same time at the breakaway speed to beat Louisiana's entire secondary. So I mean, if Bo Pribula opens up Missouri's offense, I mean, Hardy does the same thing. He's a very reliable fallback option, I'd say, too. They're not afraid to give him 15 to 20 carries now that we've seen. He 25 against Kansas and 22 against Louisiana. So, I mean, they're not afraid to get him the ball at all. So if the passing game's not working, you always have a guy like that to fall back on.
And part of that passing game, too, I think the last couple of years, Carolina fans have had to worry about covering Luther Burden and Theo Weiss and that really deep core of receivers that Eli Drinkwitz has been able to rely on the last few years. Well, a lot of those guys are gone. Luther Burden specifically, like in the NFL, he ain't walking through that door, but they brought in another impressive group of wide receivers. What have you seen from them so far, and how different is it than maybe the other guys that have been within this program the last few years?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like what I was just saying. So far, it's been very well distributed, and I think part of that is Pribula's ability to air it out and find different guys. But also, it's a deep room, and it's always been a deep room, at least over the last few years with Theo and Luther around, but those were just the top two targets. Obviously, you bring in Kevin Coleman, and he's been pretty spectacular so far. Really good slot guy, and he showed off a lot after the catch against Kansas, which was really impressive. So he's been great so far. He has good speed, but good route runner as well. Marquise Johnson's the guy who's in his third year, and he's a pretty lethal deep route runner. We haven't seen it over the last two games, but he had a few long bombs against Central Arkansas in Week 1. So he's been good. Josh Manning's been steady but good. Freshman Donovan Alubade, I don't know if you guys saw that one-handed catch he had against Kansas, but that was pretty darn impressive. One of the better catches I've seen live. And then you mix in tight end Brett Norfleet as well, who leads the team in touchdowns. He's been kind of that reliable red zone threat. So it's deep. It's always been deep. I think Pribula is really good at finding a variety of different people, which helps the offense a lot. But there's a lot of talent, and I think it's finally getting highlighted now.
Yeah, Brett Norfleet also not afraid to try to hurdle somebody. I don't know if that man has seen a hurdle opportunity that he didn't like. Yeah, so you can't hard to go low on Brett Norfleet. That's all on the offensive side of the ball, but defensively, what have you seen from this unit so far?
Yeah, I think going into this season, the evaluation of the team that this was going to be a really good defensive group, and that maybe the offensive side of the ball would take a little getting used to, and that's not entirely not true. I do feel like the offensive side of the ball has been more impressive so far, but maybe it's just moving in silence type of situation because you have guys like Josiah Trotter, Jalen Catalon, Tristan Newsom, who have been really incredible so far, and Trotter and Catalon, both transfers, both very experienced. I mean, Trotter is just insane in the backfield. If he goes unblocked, he's going to get back there. Missouri's pass rush statistically hasn't been as productive as you'd probably like it to be so far, but Damon Wilson already up to 3 sacks this season. Zion Young has found himself in the backfield. He also has a sack. You add guys like Chris McClellan into that group as well, and it's very well-rounded too. So pass rush has been good. Secondary, a little bit shaky against Kansas. Jalen Daniels is obviously a pretty good quarterback, but he made Missouri's zone defense look silly, in all honesty. They ran a lot more man against Louisiana, and it's a different story, but went far better than what we saw against Kansas. So secondary improved week 2 to week 3, but still some work to be done there. I think this is going to be a good test for that group. Obviously, South Carolina has a good chunk of solid wide receivers, so that'll probably be one thing we're keeping an eye on the most. But it hasn't been a bad group at all. maybe not as shiny and impressive as we thought, but still really solid.
Good stuff there from Michael Stamps. Michael, appreciate you. I got to hit a break, and coming back up next, it is the Corley Pool Solutions Checker Flag Challenge.
I-26 westbound at I-77, the two right lanes are blocked. So that's right there at exit 116 on I-26 westbound. Also, I-77 southbound at exit 1, that would be at I-26. The right lane is blocked. So a few incidences there to be mindful of. Also, I-26 eastbound at Piney Grove Road, an accident. And I-26 eastbound at I-20. One more just coming up, Longs Pond Road at Two Notch Road. 65 currently on the early game.
It's the Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge. And as he always does, Josh Harris joins us to make some picks and break down this weekend's race. So I'll get you started, Josh. We're in New Hampshire. What's our track scouting report?
Well, we're going to another flat track, right at a mile in length, so a little unique for our series. I think it's probably most similar to a couple weeks ago at St. Louis, maybe a little bit like Phoenix for the championship coming up at the end of the year, and Martinsville, although it's a little bit longer than Martinsville. So another short track, and a good area of the country to go up to in New Hampshire. The winner gets a live lobster, so
yes,
that's always cool in Victory Lane.
Yeah, it is kind of fun to see them. And then they do have the pinchers, like rubber banded or something, so nobody gets hurt. But it is kind of fun to see this huge lobster being held. It's like, okay, dinner, let's go.
That's right. Pull it up to the get the hauler driver, get that pot of boiling water, get that grill ready, and go eat some dinner before they head home.
Absolutely. What were your thoughts looking back real quick on Bristol? I know there was a lot of conversations about tire wear, and boy, just they were just shredding. And pros and cons, I know there were some discussions about the weather as far as it being a little bit cooler, and that might have been just enough to make a little difference. I don't know. What were your thoughts on the racing overall?
Yeah, I mean, I think once I watched a little bit of practice, and there was no indication of it. I don't think any of the teams expected it. So I think starting off that race, it quickly, became known to the teams that they were going to be dealing with what we had in spring of 24. And so they had a little bit of a notebook on how to manage that. And I think it's, it seems to be, just from listening to all the post-race commentary across the week, that it's less that the tire was wearing. It was more of it's a temperature issue where it starts to really, I don't want to say disintegrate, but the tire just doesn't hold up once it reaches a certain temperature.
Mm-hmm.
And so not so much like at a Darlington where over the course of a run you lose 3 to 4 seconds just because of the general tire wear. It was more about there's some magic temperature there with the concrete and the mixture on the tire that they just really start to go and wear in a different way. So it created an interesting, race again. A lot more cautions than normal, certainly. A lot
14.
more, every time they pit, you could see, that rubber build up inside the wheel well, kind of catching on fire. So it was a little interesting to see, but definitely more, I think the last two races at Bristol were, 2 to 3 cautions, and that included the stage cautions. So completely different race. Saw an interesting final kind of shootout there at the end, and Christopher Bell put himself in the right position at the right time with a set of tires.
Yep. Kozlowski sure worked to make something happen, but just couldn't quite get it done. We had some sloppy stuff again in the pits. Hamlin lost a tire now as a penalty as far as a couple crew members and stuff like that. So moving on to New Hampshire, things are going to get a little dicier when we look at the playoffs. It's pretty tight right now. I mean, Hamlin's sitting there, at like plus 26, but the ones that are on the way out, or the ones who are below the cut line, they're not that far below the cut line. You've got Cindric and Chastain, Logano and Reddick. all pretty tight right now. So really, it's up for grabs really for anybody at this point. Would you not agree?
Oh, I would agree. I think it's from top to bottom, 1 through 12. It's really up for grabs. I mean, 26 points can be evaporated pretty easily when you think about a race with up to 10 stage points twice in each of these races, up to 40 for winning the race. You know, it could quickly change, and I think it's going to be an exciting, round of 12 here as all these guys fight to see what they can do. And it really will be all about the entire team. It can't just be the driver on the track. They've got to have good pit stops. They can't have these loose tires. They can't speed on pit road. So the pressure ratchets up a little bit more. You got 3 completely different tracks. This flat mile track, you got Kansas, a traditional 1.5 miles, where this car seems to put on some of the best racing, and then we go to the Roval, and you never really know with a road course coming down to the end and guys fighting for those final few points and spots, what'll happen.
All right, so without further ado, it's time to make some picks. I don't have my sheet in front of me. Preston, who's first up?
Oh, that sadly would be me because, just like the Underdog Challenge, I am in the basement. I have 89. Things are looking, pretty good. We have Josh and Belijah with 94, Preston with 97, and Reggie, he's just out of here with 108. So, we're all competing for second place, I think, at this point.
Us.
I know, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. So I'm going to go some favorites. Somebody who came in second at the last race here, I'm going to go with Chase Briscoe.
Good pick. Very nice.
I appreciate that. So I guess, Josh, since you're our guest, we will bring you up.
You're
now.
giving me the second pick?
I think we'll give you the second pick. Yeah, I was kind of doing
I don't deserve
here.
it after last week. I don't deserve the second pick.
Okay. All right. Well, I have 3 names written down because I wasn't quite sure where in the order we'd pick. You took one of mine, Jen, so I'm going to go with the guy who won last week and has won 2 out of the last 3 at New Hampshire. I'm going to go with Christopher Bell.
Too much to Preston's chagrin.
That's all right.
Well, when you're doing fairly well. I mean, right now Preston's in second in this competition, so you have to have a few notches down to make your pick. So Elijah for Belijah.
What are you
thinking?
Team Belijah will take Denny Hamlin.
All right. Keep it the gut.
Bill would be proud of you.
Good.
Would.
Yes, I'll take a
Bill would be
page.
proud of you.
Yeah,
He
I'll take a
absolutely
page.
would.
Take a page there.
Give me Joey Logano.
All right. I think that's a fair bet. Boy, we're going pretty far down the list for Reggie, which is okay.
Good.
Honestly, I'm quite okay with that.
That's how this is supposed to work.
Yeah, I still think he could have a Waltrip. We could pick, one of the Waltrip brothers for him.
And he'll still be fine.
He would still be. Yep, he's Kyle Larson, so we're good on that.
Still getting Kyle Larson. Yeah, I mean, that's still not.
Yeah, Larson has bitten me every time I've picked him, so I'm done. I love Kyle Larson, but I'm done with him this year. He's out of here. Go to the line.
Get on the line.
Get on the line. That's what I was trying to come up with.
Get on the line.
That's how I feel about Logano every time I pick Logano. It doesn't work for me. That's usually when he trips up.
Yeah. So, Josh, we appreciate it so much. We look forward to talking to you again next week as we continue to make our way. Can't believe the season is kind of wrapping up here. So it's an exciting time with the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, it's coming to an end quickly. So look forward to catching up next week.
We appreciate it, Josh. Thanks so much.
Good stuff. Josh Harris, always a winner. Corley Pool Solutions, always a winner for hosting this. But we'll give you our winners for today's show coming up next.
4th and goal from the 15. Here it is, folks. They did it. Bruce Ellington, they're an extra point away. Can you believe this? Connor Shaw with a little magic.
That is a fantastic job by Shaw and a great route run in the concept. Outside receiver goes inside, inside receiver just goes back to the outside. All you're trying to do is gain leverage on the defender, and he does just that. Great job of protection. You come from inside out.
Cannot win with him. Cannot coach with him. Can't do it. I want winners.
And I think it's only appropriate to give Connor Shaw our winner for today's show. All pulling for him because of the news that broke late last night from the state newspaper. South Carolina quarterback Connor Shaw is hospitalized Wednesday night after reportedly collapsing at his son's football game. Unfortunately, no further updates too, but we're definitely keeping Connor Shaw in our thoughts and prayers and pulling for him. So we're giving him a winner for today's show.
Man, the ultimate winner, the winningest quarterback in program history. I mean, there's no other way you could define it. One at home, one against Clemson, one everywhere. And if you've ever had a chance to meet him, an ultimate dude, man, a great guy. So we're all keeping him in our thoughts and prayers. And as I said earlier, let everybody do their work. You don't have to run to social media to find out information. The state is reporting. There are people reporting. We don't need this. We don't need the message board. This one.
No,
This is not the one. The message board. We'll find out information as it updates. But keep them in your thoughts and prayers for sure.
Most certainly.
You're absolutely right. I've met him a couple different times, and he is hands down one of the nicest people to interact with.
For sure.
Just great person. He was part of my childhood fandom, so he was the quarterback for me growing up. That following Carolina football, man. That was. Connor Shaw was the guy. Everybody, you go out and play backyard football. Everybody's saying, "I'm going to be QB. I'm Connor Shaw. We're the Gamecocks. You know what I mean? It was like seeing that last night. Just kind of gave me a whole body shake type of thing.
Yeah, it's definitely something that would and it does affect a lot of people because he's somebody that you grew up with at a time when we were winning.
Yeah,
and that was a great time in the Carolina football history. So we will definitely keep that. So Connor Shaw was a quarterback. Connor Shaw ran an offense, but we have to give our winner today to our man Ray.
Yes,
for creating a new offense, not the RPO, but the ROP.
And we're down with ROP.
We
know me.
We are down with it. We are trademarking that, and we're taking it to the top. We're gonna make millions of dollars running the ROP offense.
We're going to institute it with some poor team that has no idea what they're going to be running, and it's going to revolutionize football.
You're running out of the meat package.
Ooh.
Come on now. Now you're talking. Is that really just the big difference between an RPO and ROP is that we're just going to run it out of the meat package?
I think so.
More physical.
I'm going to draw that up. That'll be the first thing I show on the whiteboard Saturday.
Nice.
Yes, that's another winner that I've got for us. We're taking our YouTube game to the next level because on Saturday, if you're not at O'Hara's watching the game with our watch party, which you absolutely should, it's a whole lot of fun over there. Love O'Hara's. But if you're just chilling at home and you need, somebody to watch the game with, Nick, Preston, and I will be, and I think Jen Jensen might be making a guest appearance. Rumored. It's rumored that there'll be a Jen Jensen sighting.
Yeah, you guys probably want me to bring food.
True if big.
Yes. Yeah, true if big. Jen Jensen could be making an appearance, but we'll be doing a YouTube watch along at the Game TV on YouTube. We are breaking out our new video podcasting studio. We'll be watching the game. You can watch along with us, ask questions in real time. Nick's bringing the whiteboard. We're breaking down the plays.
Do your job.
And I'm bringing a backup whiteboard in case we have to go full Muschamp and break one. But that's what we got going on, and that's a big winner for me today as well.
This is going to be exciting because we're going to learn so much about each other. How do we watch games? What's our tendencies? This is a pretty intimate setting, man. I don't know if I'm ready for everybody to see what I do when I watch these games.
I hope I can break out the Frank Campbell close game stance, which is whenever my dad's watching usually his favorite team, the Tennessee Vols. He's watching on TV and it's a close game. He sits about maybe 3 inches in front of the TV.
Yeah, come on now.
His hands are on his knees. If you're watching on YouTube like this, hands are on his knees, and he is not that far away from the television screen. I'm surprised he still has any vision left, but he will stand there like that. And it don't matter if it's the beginning of the fourth quarter, he will watch the entire game like that. And it almost is agonizing to watch from afar because it's bad for him.
That is the probably my favorite coaching pose.
Oh, yeah.
And I still do it at home, too, to be fair. Like, if there's a big play coming, I'm hands on the knees. And I'm in it.
Oh,
man.
I've inherited it because I do the same thing too.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I have inherited. I think I watched the entire 2019 NFC Championship game between the Saints and Rams like that. The entire time. I don't think I left that position the entire game.
It's like that meme, with the lady with the glasses on, and she's like squinting really hard with her hands on her knees. That's me watching a game with a big play on the line, man. X's and O's, another winner.
Yes.
I know we talked about the whiteboards, but X's and O's.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be plenty of them.
Yeah, we're breaking down a lot of that.
I can't wait.
Really quickly, Dolphins, Bills tonight.
I know who's not going to be a winner in that one. Sorry, Dolphins. Sorry, Dolphin fans. You're cooked. You're cooked. That Dolphin is on the grill, and it's cooked, and it is going to be delicious. But maybe after tonight it gets burnt because the temperature will get so hot in there.
Lots of tables broken tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Bills
Mafia winners, for
I know a Rubbermaid table hates to see the Bills coming, and tonight there will not be a single Rubbermaid table safe in upstate New York. That I can promise you. I can also promise you Tyler Head, Jack Veltri, and the Extra Point, they're coming up next. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning.